difficult is it to make significant changes?
I don't know if significant changes is what's required.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Extra Point presented by Microsoft Surface. I'm Missi Matthews, joined today by Bob Pompeani. The Steelers fall to 1-1 thanks to a loss to New England in their home opener at Acrisure Stadium on Sunday. And Pomp, this was one of those games where there were several key things that went wrong that really ended up affecting the game, especially in the second half.
Low scoring game, both offenses a little bit challenged, not producing points, and when that happens, typically plays, one or two of them can decide the game. Right before halftime, I thought the play with Akello Witherspoon was big. He didn't go up and make a play. It turned out to be a touchdown for Nelson Aguilar. And then this one, a 10-6 game, Missi, with about 4 minutes left in the third quarter. This happened after a Cam Sutton drop of what would have been an easy interception, it looked like. And right off the bat, New England's in position to score. They did score. That became an 11-point lead, and that was a critical turn in this game.
And being able for New England, kudos to them for taking advantage of getting those turnovers and getting points on the board for them. Something we saw the Steelers struggle with in Cincinnati whenever the Steelers defense was playing lights out. But there you see the touchdown that you were referring to right before halftime, and also the dropped interception by Cam Sutton, something that Coach Tomlin mentioned today during his press conference. And he had his press conference today because it is a short week. AFC North football on Thursday on Amazon. The Steelers traveling to face the Cleveland Browns. So in terms of the Steelers offense, we'll start there. What do you want to see them clean up or do as they head into this next game?
Well, I would like them to see more use of the middle of the field. They're kind of going to the outside quite a bit. That seems to be what happened last year under Matt Canada with a new quarterback, more mobility. You would think maybe there was going to be more opportunities to roll the pockets, to look down the field, middle of the field. We haven't seen a lot of that, Missi, and I think those are missed opportunities because they do have players who can get open and create yak yards. Deontay Johnson's real good at it. If you hit him on a slant, let him go. Got to put it right there, give it time. Also just taking advantage of the height of guys like George Pickens, who was so good in the preseason. We expect, I guess, because of that, to see big numbers so far, not so much. Just 2 catches for 23 yards. And Chase Claypool, who was bullish on this season. There were some good throws by Mitch Trubisky, but again, I think most of them went to the outside. They need to utilize more of the middle of the field, and I think that helps everyone involved.
In terms of also going tempo, that is something we heard a lot from Pat Freiermuth, Chase Claypool in the locker room afterwards. That's what worked so well on their touchdown drive in this game.
They really did. They were not doing much in terms of big chunk plays or plays that made a difference on that drive you're talking about. This is after that muff punt, the touchdown to make it 17-6. They immediately get 9 plays, 75 yards, and they used Najee Harris, certainly out of the backfield, but they had some completions to Deontay Johnson, and then over the middle to Freiermuth for the score. But they did it with alacrity. And if you can do that, I think, if it was me, I'd like to use it a little bit earlier in the game, just to keep that defense honest a little bit.
All right, in terms of quarterback Mitch Trubisky, we had a chance to hear from him post-game on Sunday. Let's take a listen and then chat about what Coach Tomlin said about number 10 today.
And we can be better at everything. I can be better with decision-making. We had some missed opportunities. I said missed throws. We had a couple we weren't on the same page. And bottom line, we got to score more points. So our emphasis was be better on third down this week. I think we were a little bit better at that in the first half at least. In the fourth quarter, we got to convert those to be able to stay on the field and give ourselves a chance. But it just felt like missed opportunities by myself in the offense. And there's a lot we can get better at.
And Bob, Coach Tomlin saying today he's going to be patient with not just Mitch Trubisky, but this entire offense as they try to figure out how to gel best and to get points on the board.
And I think 2 games in, that's what you would expect, especially with a short week like this one, Missy. It's hard to, when you basically get one practice to work on or change things. I do think they can expand their playbook a little bit, however. They have plays that they've worked on that they haven't utilized yet, and hoping that'll be the case as they go into Cleveland and take advantage of opportunities like this one over the middle of the field. The more of this you do, the more the outside becomes available, and some of those jump balls you saw that New England executed could be to the Steelers' advantage. But number 88 is a guy who's a big target. Gentry has been a good target. They used one well-designed screen pass in that game against Cincinnati, but we haven't seen much beyond that. So I expect to see more of those sorts of plays, a little bit more tempo, and try to catch them off guard.
Coach Tomlin said encouraged improvements from week 1 to week 2 in terms of the offensive line. That's a group I think we have been exhausted talking about since the end of the last season. In terms of the run game, how do they improve that and see more from Najee Harris on the ground, not just in the air?
They average 4 yards a carry, which is okay. in and of itself, but I think they need to pound it more. You need to see some bigger plays. And again, the offensive line, while I understand what Mike Tomlin is saying, has gotten better, it can get even better. And I think they need to open more holes up the middle to create more opportunities for him, because it didn't seem like there were a lot of holes available. And what yards he were making, or Jalen's Warren were, a little bounce out to the outside, created on its own. They got to open up more holes, specifically up the middle, and take advantage of them.
In Cincinnati, we saw what the Steelers defense did in terms of winning the turnover battle, how that helped register a win for the Steelers. Do you feel like that is going to have to happen every week until we see more points scored by the offense?
I think it's unrealistic to expect it every week, but I do think plays like this one with Minkah Fitzpatrick, when you got playmakers, they're going to make plays. But it helps if you get pressure on the quarterback, and that's one thing we saw a lot of in that Joe Burrow game the first time, with 11 quarterback hits, 7 sacks. TJ Watt, of course, was a big factor in that. And without him, you saw that they couldn't get to the quarterback. Only 3 quarterback hits. And I'm sure New England knew that. Belichick prepared for that. Their offensive line did very well, especially up the middle, where I thought they may have a disadvantage.
What do you think they can do for week 3, knowing you're not going to have TJ Watt for Thursday night and then the next 2 after, to create that pressure that is going to be a void without him in there?
I think exotic blitzes from time to time, things we haven't seen a lot of, whether that's corner blitzes. They line Minkah up a little bit on the line of scrimmage early, and I'm not sure if that was just kind of a sequencing thing that you may see more of, and then they do something different from it. But, unless you can get and win those one-on-one battles up front with your defensive line, you're going to have to utilize some of those kind of blitz. And I think Brian Flores, when he was a head coach in Miami, utilized those quite a bit. Now, maybe he has an impact on that decision-making moving into this game.
In terms of the defense, giving up 17 points, which typically would maybe register a win for the Steelers if the offense would have been able to score a little bit more. But the end of the game, those last 6 minutes, 33 seconds, where New England was able to just drain the clock. What did you see there in terms of not being able to stop what they were doing?
I saw maybe a tired defense. They've been on the field quite a bit. They were in Cincinnati, and they were in this game. Mike Tomlin wanted no part of that excuse, and I get it. But at the same time, they get worn down. And I think New England sensed that. They were going to run the ball, and they ran it 6 straight times, 8 out of 10, and the Steelers just couldn't stop it. So when your offense can do your defense a favor by occupying time of possession a little bit more, and if you do that, your defense should be fresher as the game rolls on. And I think in this case, it was a hot day. I think they were just a little bit worn out.
And 94 snaps a week ago, too.
That's a lot of snaps. And then you come back with a short week. It's imperative that this offense do some good things to help out this defense.
Now, in terms of facing the Browns, it was a wild Sunday in the AFC North, all across the NFL, really, but specifically for the Steelers, some wild finishes, and they started to go in the Steelers' favor with everybody else ending up losing as well.
I don't think you could have ever predicted. If you looked at the scoreboard in the fourth quarter and you saw Baltimore up by 21 points over Miami, you would never have thought that Miami had enough time or possessions to win that game, and they did. With just deep passes to their playmakers. They just unloaded it to Tyreek Hill and to Jalen Waddle. And then on the other one, going to Cleveland now, they're not going to be in a very good mood now because of this game that they had. They were up by 13 points with 2 minutes left, and they couldn't close the deal on the New York Jets. But that goes to show you, it ain't over until it's over in the NFL, and we've seen that multiple times.
And we know what AFC North football means. The physicality will be there. It's a primetime game, so no doubt we will hopefully see the best from both teams.
It should be a good game, and it needs to be a win for the Steelers. Division games, if you can win a lot of those, it makes it a lot easier on the rest of your schedule.
All right, Pom, thanks for joining me. That is going to do it for the Extra Point presented by Microsoft Surface. We'll see everybody next week.